The Denver Nuggets are headed to a Game 7. The best words in sports. The Denver Nuggets, they're 4-2 in the Jokic Murray era in Game 7. What will we see this Sunday? The Denver Nuggets, they're overcoming adversity after adversity after adversity in Game 6. You get the Julian Strawther game, the Nikola Jokic game, the Jamal Murray game. Peyton Watson gets a block. The Denver Nuggets, they're rolling. All the chips are on the table. We have a big 3-episode. Matt Moore, Ryan Blackburn, and Swipa. It's time for Locked On Nuggets.
You are Locked On Nuggets, your daily Denver Nuggets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Locked On Nuggets. This is your show every single day. This is your host, Swipa, joined by his co-host, Ryan Blackburn and Matt Moore, two of the very best in the business, y'all. We are going to have quite the show. This has been one of the absolute best parts of the Denver Nuggets experience. This is going to be a battle of gladiators in Game 7. We got the top 2 MVP candidates, a 68-win team, one of the 5 best defenses in NBA history, versus a team that seemingly under David Adelman is putting it all together, y'all. And I cannot wait to get into this conversation. There's so much good hoops happening right now, and we're here to talk about all of it, y'all. But today's episode brought to you by Prizepicks. Download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prizepicks, run your game. Ryan, Matt, how y'all doing today?
Good, man. It's been quite a road. I didn't think that we would get here. I'm glad that we are here, but just very excited to be able to wake up today and know that the Nugget season is continuing.
I'm good. Got some sun. Went out to the beach here on Julian Strawther Island and had a nice pina colada. And enjoyed watching as I was checking the Zillow rankings, and they're just like the values just skyrocketing. So been a good day here on Julian Strawther Island.
No, I love that for you. You have been the Julian Strawther advocate. You've always said, Swipa, it's not bad. It's bad right now, but eventually he'll figure it out. And figure out he did in one of the biggest stretches of really the last few years of Denver Nuggets basketball. So as we get into this conversation, Matt, I want to start here with you. So when you look at the first 6 games of this series, you see the 3 games that Denver has won. You see the 3 games that Denver has lost. What do you feel like has worked for the Nuggets so far in this series? And what do you feel like have hampered them through the 3 games that they've lost?
I think that Denver overall, when they lose the turnover battle badly, when they commit live ball turnovers, when they can't get into their sets, when they're losing the possession battle on a consistent basis, that's when they're failing. They've had games where they've been able to manage that. They've had games where they've survived that, but really, like, it's just one of those things that it can't continue if you do that over and over and over again. So that's something I'll be looking for at Game 7. Way that they have succeeded is the Jamal Murray minutes, man. They continue to be great. And I don't really know how to quantify this because it's never something that we've been able to really talk about before. Jamal Murray has been driving Denver's success in a lot of ways. When he is on the floor, the Nuggets have thrived. When he has not been on the floor, the Nuggets have really faltered, like even dating back into the Clippers series. So I'm curious as to your guys' opinions on why that has happened, but Jamal Murray stepping up in a big moment.
Aaron Gordon defending J-Dub has worked surprisingly well. I did not think that was going to be necessarily a great matchup. I thought that Aaron could do it. J-Dub's really struggled in the series with Aaron's physicality, and it's another reason why, obviously, everyone's worried about that hamstring. It's a huge narrative going into Game 7, but Aaron's done such a tremendous job, I think, of denying the space. Denver, I think, has done an excellent job on these drives. Like the drive differential, I forget who was tweeting about it this morning, the differential and the number of drives for each team. But here's a big thing is OKC's always going to drive. But except for very few bad matchups, the good defenders on Denver have done an excellent job of cutting off lanes. OKC has not been able to get comfortably to their spots, which has meant that they haven't been able to create the kind of offense that I think a lot of people expected them to get to in this series. The Nuggets are still slow on their rotations. They're still vulnerable in their rim protection, but they've done such a good job at point of attack of guiding them away from where they want to get to, that it's led to, I think, a lot of success on the defensive end. So that's something that I've really identified as like a big thing that they've kind of done. The other thing I'll say is I think they've done a good job of countering. This is one of the things I love about Denver. So you're going to shoot a lot of threes and we don't. Well, we'll just take more in this game versus you. Also, you're going to create a lot of turnovers. What if we just do the same thing and we create a lot of points off turnovers against you? And then even if we're vulnerable, it negates that vulnerability. Denver's done a good job of evening the playing field and being like, we're not going to let you get these margins. We're going to make you beat us in half court offense where we're better. And that, I think, is a big reason why they've been able to force a game 7 here.
Yeah, I think to your earlier question, Ryan Blackburn, about what is it exactly that's making Jamal Murray really so transcendent so far in this series. If you look at the on-off numbers for PBP, the Nuggets are winning his minutes by plus 5.50, but they're losing the non-Murray minutes so far in the playoffs by a minus 43 points per 100 possession. They're getting destroyed, but I think a lot of this is they simply don't have the guard play and the over-the-top shot making and the ball creation and even the way that the Nuggets are played defensively. When Murray is not in the game, OKC, they do not fear Russell Westbrook. They do not fear Christian Brown. They don't fear Peyton Watson. So even the way that they're guarding Denver and having to extend their defense, the way they're guarding the pick and roll, not going under them with both men with Russell Westbrook, even the way they're having to over-rotate. I mean, they're committing so many bodies to Jamal Murray on every single possession, and it's opening up the rest of the offense, including for Nikola Jokic. Nikola Jokic, in this playoff so far and in this OKC series, he's at his best when Murray's on the court. When he's not on the court with Jokic, they're shrinking the floor in some really creative ways. And I think ultimately that's why his value has been so high, even with Michael Porter Jr. You know, his shoulder injuries obviously having a lot to do with why he's not been as effective as you would want him to be in this series. But when Jamal's been on the floor, really, y'all, when the starters have been on the floor, they have been dominating OKC. And that might be my biggest takeaway right now. The biggest difference is the Nuggets starters have been very good this series, better than OKC's. But on the other end, if the Nuggets can just get 1 or 2 contributors off the bench, they have been able to really run away with games. And I think them being able to find a place where last game Jokic did not start the fourth quarter. He got 4 minutes of rest, and he came back into the game fully rejuvenated, hit a tough contested floater, and then a nice 3 that they didn't want to switch on that he made out of timeout. When Jokic gets a chance to get rest, I think that has aided the Nuggets in total. And I think Jamal Murray, him sustaining the offense in the non-Jokic minutes and with the Jokic minutes as an on-ball shot creator, has made all the difference in the world. So Jamal Murray, you know, Matt, going into the series, you know, I had a lot of different spaces I was in, and there were some top 10 players in the series rankings that were done, and Jamal Murray never finished higher than J-Dub or Chet going into the series. But I think because of his play, because of how important he is to this team, man, just an incredible series so far for Jamal.
And I think, honestly, I've really been impressed. It's funny because you talk about the starters, and I've been really impressed with the small ball units, man. Like, the Nuggets going small really has worked, and I didn't think I'd ever say that. But they've been able to generate good stretches, good runs, good pushes with AG at the 5. But it's not just about the AG at the 5 is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, like, 3-guard lineups. Like, they've been really able to get there, or, you know, 2 smaller wings alongside Aaron. Those lineups, I think, have really worked. And that to me has been really impressive as well, that Jamal's been good even when he hasn't been on the court with Yoke. And that to me is like, that's a massive win, I think, for Denver in the series.
Lots of good stuff from Denver overall. And again, I picked Thunder in 6. I did not think that Denver would be able to get to this point, but just the way that they have bounced back from low points and just it honestly hasn't really felt like that many low points. They've just kind of faltered in the fourth quarters and in games 4 and 5. And if they were on the other side of that and winning that, then this series might even be over in Denver's favor. So credit to them for putting themselves into this position where we could even be talking about this. I did not have as much belief in them as I should have. And just overall, really impressed with the way that they have changed my perspective on who they are through moments of adversity and through moments of resilience.
This series with Yoke and Jamal on court versus the Thunder big 3 of Shea, Chet, and J-Dub, the Nuggets are plus 16. they've won those minutes. That's 63 minutes that they've won by 16 points in this series. So the Nuggets' best players have been better than the Thunder's best players, and that matters a lot.
Yeah. On the other side, y'all, we're going to talk about what have they changed our perspective? Could this possibly be a title team? We're going to talk about some of the rest of the players on the roster. What's going to happen in Game 7? Why they may or may not win that game? Who are the most surprising players? There's so much more to get into here at Locked On Nuggets. Wow. Basketball season is at its peak, and with the playoffs heating up, now is the time to put your sports knowledge to work with Prizepicks, the top platform for daily fantasy sports. Prizepicks makes it easy. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player projections, and you're in. Whether it's points, rebounds, assists, you got a shot to win up to 2,000 times your entry. Now, look, this week, I'm looking Jokic plus 26.5. I think this is going to be a big scoring game, you all. This is going to be a game where he's going to be required to do a lot. Definitely something you want to tap into. SGA plus 27. That should be another thing on your board as well. So download the app today and use code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prizepicks. Run your game. We'll be right back for more here on Locked On Nuggets. What's going on? We are back here for the second segment of Locked On Nuggets. I'm here with 2 of my best friends in the world, Matt Moore and Ryan Blackburn. Y'all make sure you like, share, and subscribe on the YouTube side. We are on the way to 15,000 subscribers. Maybe there's some NBA finals running here, Matt Moore and Ryan Blackburn, and 20,000 might need to be the bar. I have no idea. Don't want to gas it up. Let's get through Game 7 first. But y'all, make sure on the Apple, iTunes, and Spotify side to give us a 5-star review. That way more and more people can listen to the great content being made here at Locked On Nuggets. And I want to say, Matt Moore and Ryan Blackburn, you all have done a tremendous job. Post-game shows have been going crazy. Y'all know, when the game ends for me, it's 2 a.m., it's 3 a.m., I got to get some sleep, but these fellas are here with you, dedicated after every single playoff game, not just because they love their job, but because they love y'all. All right, y'all. So let's get straight into it here. Ryan.
Yeah.
Has your perspective changed on this Denver Nuggets team?
Of course. How could it not? Like, they fired their coach. They fired their GM. It's 79 games into the regular season, and with 3 games left to go, before they had to make a playoff run, and it shocked us all. And at that point, I kind of wrote them off. I didn't necessarily think that they could go that far, but Josh Kroenke, credit to him, he effectively said during that presser that he thought that this was in Denver, that this was within them to be able to unlock this mode, that they had the resilience necessary. They had the ability to get to this championship level, and that they weren't that far away. And David Adelman has really helped them. Just, I think, removing the pressure of what was going on behind the scenes has really helped them. And I think they've, like, one thing that I think is really important to note is they're just a better team now than they were then. They have leveled up. They have put themselves into a better position of accountability, of getting better, of watching more film, of doing the detail work, of making themselves into the best version of themselves at the right time. This version of the Nuggets did not exist a month ago, and I'm glad to see that they have leveled up.
I think for me, as far as the perception of this team, I'm in the camp of they did a really good job of throwing me off of the scent just over and over and over again. And it's just always such a good reminder that, like, you just can't overreact to any one game. Now, we are elite on this show at overreacting to one game. But I do think that if we took our time, you can kind of see, I said the whole thing from the beginning of the season for me at the beginning of the season was, hey, look, they need to be better at the end than they were at the beginning. I didn't think they were, and then they were, because they fired their coach and they fired their GM, and whatever that caused in them emotionally brought them to the point where they're at. And then I said, you just got to get in the playoffs and then figure it out. And then they've done that. Like, they've just figured it out, you know? Oh, like the Clippers were a better team. They had a better rotation. They had better numbers. They had a better defense. And the Nuggets figured them out. The Thunder are a way better team. Way better team. Like, they're so deep. They got such a, like, their defense fights for every single loose ball. They tear the ball away from these guys constantly. They've got so many weapons, but the Nuggets have figured it out. Like, they just figured it out, man. And now they're 1 game away from a conference finals appearance and finishing with a better performance than last year. That to me is like a big deal here. No matter what happens, Denver will have gotten to the exact same point that they did last season. Like, they will not have taken a step back in terms of their overall finish to the season. If they lose game 7, they lost game 7 in the second round last year to a really great team. And the way that they've managed to persevere and prove their resilience and how tough they are and stay together, to me, has been really impressive.
Hey, Matt, did you know this? That currently the Denver Nuggets, they have a minus 3.2 net rating in the playoffs. And OKC, they're a plus 11.5. How do you feel about that?
You got to win, you know, you got a small sample impacts that, but you got to win the games. That's the thing. It doesn't matter. Again, this is one of the things I really did kind of find. I had this big Daggers episode that I did with the guys from the Mavericks about that team being a fluke last year. And I was like, so you don't, like, you can admit that the Wolves were better than you. And they're like, yeah, but they weren't in that series. And that really kind of got to me. And I thought a lot about that sense is like, you don't have to be the best team. You just got to be the best team in that series. For those 7 games, you do have to prove you're the best team. And Denver has done enough to prove that they are dead even with OKC.
How much of this do you feel like, because that game 2 is, I think, it's skewing the numbers of this series. Could even the starters numbers will be even better, because OKC won by 43 points in that game. It was just a demolition. But honestly, the Nuggets, they've won 3 straight third quarters versus this team. They've won a majority of the quarters versus OKC. I mean, I think we're at a point where I wouldn't say they're, well, again, I think, let me say it like this, Matt and Ryan. They're not better than them. But I think in the stuff that matters, there's a really good argument for the Nuggets that they are. Because when it comes to execution, finding the solves, pressing the right buttons, finding the right configuration of lineups, and pressing the right buttons to be able to attack OKC's defense, OKC, they have basically tried to absolutely stifle anything around the basket for the Nuggets. And the Nuggets were like, okay, cool. Hey, Chet, come here. If you're guarding Christian Brown, Chet, if you're guarding Michael Porter Jr., come here. We're going to get you away from the rim. And the more Jokic has gotten comfortable with, I think, the interior pressure around the rim, he's been scoring at a higher level as of late. And then now you're getting more confident as your three-point shot is going down a little bit. And again, it comes back to Jamal. Jamal, at this point, I think he just knows they're going to fight me every single possession, but that's fine because I got counters. Matt, when he got the ball and drove by Alex Caruso yesterday, faked it up on Lou Dort, and then went underneath for the lay on the English, I was like, ooh, okay, Jamal. And then Jamal jumps off the left foot. Show, Chet, sight. Jordan switched the other hand. I'm like, go ahead, Jamal. That's what you like to see. So I think some of this is simple as, is it not just possible that the Nuggets have figured out their identity and they feel more grounded in who they are than the other team does? And that might end up being the difference.
Well, it's possible that their identity never left, right? Like, yeah. It's always possible that they were just bored by the regular season and hated having to go through that, and they just wanted to get to the playoffs where they knew that they could get to this level again. Because you talk to them and they still talk about themselves like a championship team. This is still the same group that was able to make it that far. And Jamal, I think, embodies that almost more than anybody, where he knows who he is when the going gets tough and when everything gets difficult. So just maybe that's as simple as that, where this team knows who they are and has always known who they are. And we forgot that. I forgot that. I think that's probably the most likely answer in all of this, that Denver has just, they got lost in the sauce of the regular season a little bit. It got them in trouble, and then they got back out of it in the playoffs.
I mean, I don't know. Like, this team still doesn't have shooting. This team still doesn't have a lot of wing defense. This team, and like, part of this is OKC is in a very particular spot where they have a lot of talent and they're well coached and they have a lot of expectations on their shoulders for a young team. And a lot of this is like Denver has guys that can make those kind of shots, and OKC has guys that are going to be very, very variable. Like there's been games where Dort's been great in the series. There's been games where Dort's been terrible in the series shooting. There's been games when Alex Caruso's been awesome. There's been games when Alex Caruso's been terrible shooting in the series. And so those are like really big swing elements of this. I think the identity part, I think is true, Swipa. It's a great point in that I think Denver is able to get OKC to play how they want. And OKC has struggled to force Denver to play how they want. And that's been a difficulty for them. And like they forced turnovers, which is a big part of it, but they still haven't been able to kind of get loose. They haven't been able to hit the big, massive runs that put them away. That's what they did all throughout the regular season as they won all these games, these long second halves. And Denver is just stubborn about hanging around and getting enough plays. And that I think gives them an excellent opportunity to just like, it's a staring contest, right? It's a tug of war. And it's not about what your best shot is. It's really about, do you have enough to not break under pressure? And Denver didn't do that. And that was game 6. And it was honestly the end of that game 6. And Denver didn't break under pressure and they got enough to get by.
Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic are definitely the guys that pop blood vessels in their eyes while trying to complete the staring contest. That's just who they are.
Look, on the other side, we're going to wrap up this conversation. We're going to talk about, I'll give our predictions out for game 7 and really what are going to be the keys to that game. We'll talk about all that more here at Locked On Nuggets. Man, now there's nothing like the NBA playoff, the intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off, and with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. Now, I love that I can see my exact seat and the view from that seat before I buy, so it's no surprises. And with the Game Time guarantee, you know you're getting the best deal. And if you find a better price in the same row and section, they'll credit me 110% of the difference. So y'all, the NFL schedule release just dropped as well, and you better believe I'm already looking at my fall calendar and picking up which games to get to. You'll find great seats for as low as $100 thanks to exclusive discounts as well. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LLC KEDONNBA for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We'll be right back for the final segment, Locked On Nuggets. We are back here for the final segment of Locked On Nuggets with Matt Moore, Ryan Blackburn, and your man, Swipa. Y'all, this has been a great episode so far. Make sure, take a second, pause, hit the like button, hit the share button. Tell your grandma, tell your mother, tell your father, tell your guardian, whoever you got in your life, your baby, tell them Locked On Nuggets is the place to be. I need you to watch this show. Game 7's on the way. We need you. So, y'all, let me ask you this question. When you look at what's happening in Game 7, what do you feel like are going to be the keys for success for the Denver Nuggets to be able to win that game?
Hustle plays, like probably the most important factor here is you're going to make shots. You're probably going to miss a lot of shots. Both of these teams are probably going to miss a lot of shots in this game, I would expect. But the most important thing that Denver can do is just fight for those 50-50 balls, try to get them as many second chance opportunities as they possibly can, and just try to wear down OKC. Denver in this past game did a great job of getting OKC into foul trouble. They got a whole bunch of points at the free throw line. They're able to wear them down. They're able to get some easy baskets because of it. And Jokic just got to the front of the rim as often as he possibly could. So that's the easiest place for Denver to get some buckets, for them to get some foul shots. And I think in this game, in a game 7 where, yeah, anything can happen, but the easiest way to kind of shift that towards yourself is to get the easiest possible shots that you can. And that's free throws. And that is shots right in front of the basket.
You know, I tend to go much more simply, which is just like make or miss in the league, man. You know, I've seen great shooters go cold in game 7s. I've seen random dudes hit 4 of 9.
Great
and
moves.
It's like, it's so tough, man. In terms of who's going to come out ahead. We got a lot of questions about Aaron and his calf. Or his hamstring. There's no update on Aaron. There's not going to be an update. Shams might get news on it, and you might get a level at that level of somebody tweeting. Chris Haynes would be another one to watch, honestly, because of his connections to representation. We won't get anything. We won't hear anything. He'll be listed as questionable. He will continue to be questionable. He'll be a game time decision, and then they'll announce if he's playing or not. They're not going to let OKC know if he's playing until right up until the game. I would expect him to play, and I would expect him to play less minutes is kind of my expectation, is that he's not going to be able to go. Like, I don't see any way, I guess, as Ryan would say, that AG is able to go 44 minutes in this one coming off of that hamstring. He will just, it would blow, I think. But even then, like, I don't know, like it could go if he plays 20. So I don't know. I think if they turn the ball over a lot and they don't get back on transition, they lose. If they allow open shots to shooters in rhythm and those guys are able to knock them down, they lose, because they are giving up still. I thought they got actually really good looks in game 6. J-Dub, to me, is missing good looks. I do not see a lot. Like, I think Aaron's done a good job on him. I still think J-Dub's gotten quality looks and just missed. Yeah. It's going to take a lot of things. Here's what the Nuggets need. They need this to be the prototypical game 7. Ugly, close, nasty, a brick throwing contest, and Joker and Jamal make a handful of plays down the stretch. They need it to look like the 2016 finals game 7. It's close. Joker and Jamal make plays. That's what they really need to have happen. There's a lot of outcomes where this doesn't go their way because, again, OKC's a really great team. Like, I think they're a really great team. And so there's a lot of outcomes where it doesn't happen for them, but Denver's done a really good job of creating the circumstances for them to succeed. They've given themselves, this is the thing that teams always talk about. We just need to give ourselves the opportunity. That's the key here, is give yourself the opportunity to win this game down the stretch. Should be an amazing one.
Yeah, I think for me, last year in the game 7, again, Jamal Murray, 35 points, Jokic, 34 points. No one in that game had more than 7 points. And that has haunted me to this day. But what really got me, Matt and Ryan, was the offensive rebounding by the Wolves. In the fourth quarter, they could not end possessions. Yeah. And that ended up costing them the game. The Nuggets have to secure the basketball. If that mad, bald-headed man, Alex Caruso, tips out 3 or 4 balls in the fourth, you're going to lose. Keep the bald-headed man with the receding hairline away from the paint by any means necessary. And I think that is going to be a big story because, again, if the Nuggets, if they keep this trend up, they're going to go into the third quarter and it's going to be like a game that is in balance. But they're going to have to make sure that they get to the fourth and they don't allow for OKC to run away with the same thing the Wolves did. You have to dictate the pace. You got to be the more physical team, the more disciplined team, and the team that is taking the smarter shots, and also the team that is making sure you're not giving up multiple possessions over and over and over and over and over and over again. Again, they lost because Naz Reid went crazy and had tip-in. They lost because J-Mac went 8 of 9, 8 of 10 in that game and made corner threes. They lost because Rudy Gobert, with 7.5 minutes left, hit the most difficult shot of his career and put him up 4. But those 4 points, coupled with those offensive rebound opportunities, coupled with the fact that Jokic couldn't make a 3 and nobody else could score, that is what doomed them. Michael Porter Jr., bucket. Christian Brown, you need a bucket. Julian Strawther, you need a bucket. Aaron Gordon, you have to get a bucket. And Jokic, if you get some rest at the top of the fourth, which is hopefully what Dave Adamon does, you have to be able to close the door. And Jamal Murray as well. No more fatigue. 0 of 6 in the fourth quarter until the last and layup in game 5. That stuff has to be out the window. But the thing is, y'all, they can do it. I think Denver has proven that they have found advantages versus this team. I think they feel like a stronger team. They feel like a team that is more suited to win in the NBA playoff setting. They are not afraid of OKC at all. They're going to have to be able to carry that kind of mentality and aggression into Game 6 in the closeout possessions. And I think, Matt, Ryan, as I said before the series started, I think they're going to do it.
Last time, I think Game 5, the story was Jokic was unbelievable. He had figured some stuff out and then created some open looks for everybody, and it just didn't go down. I wonder, like, role players traveling, shooting on the road, Murray's going to have to be great. That's going to be, I think, a pretty important piece of this. If Jokic and Murray are great, how much do they need to go with them? I think is a fair question. I think it probably depends on how many of the OKC role players get going at home. They did not get going on the road, that's for sure. So will they get going at home? Aaron Wiggins, Kaysen Wallace, Alex Caruso, Lou Dort shooting and making 3 threes in a row like he did in Game 5. Those are the swing plays. And as Matt said, like, you just never know who's going to show up in that moment, what the pivot point is going to be. Can Denver have a pivot point from their role player side? Is Christian Brown going to hit some shots on the road? Is Julian Strawther, like, can he take that show on the road? I kind of doubt it, but why would I doubt it at this point? There's anything could happen with this series. I think it's pretty clear.
I think Denver's just been incredible in how they've played the series. Everybody stepped up so much. Like, the guys have been amazing. Aaron's had such a great playoffs. Joker responded, figured out this defense, and has been taking over games. Jamal has battled. This is such a tough matchup, and Jamal has come out ahead on it. Christian gave them a great Game 6, and his defense on Shea has been absolutely crucial. I think Peyton's played tremendous. Russ is always up and down, but he's had his moments. That putback last night we talked about was really big. So in general, I just think that the Nuggets deserve all the credit in the world. They've been so incredible in this series. This is such a fun team to watch, and this is such a fun team for the Nuggets fans. Like, you deserve this, Nuggets fans, to get a team that is this good and this awesome to root for. And also, like, shout out to Swipa, man, for being the one person that was like, this is going 7. You cannot trust these boys. The Nuggets are gonna. This is a coin flip series. The Nuggets are gonna get it to 7. Like, shout out to you, man. That was a great call.
So what are your official predictions for the game?
I made it last night. Nuggets win. I think the Nuggets win. I think the momentum, they've changed my mind enough over the course of this that I think it's a fair expectation to have that they come in as the veteran team and pull this thing off. It would be a crazy upset. 50-win team going in and upsetting the 68-win team in 7 after going to 7 in the first round. That's a crazy pivot.
I said last night, I'll stick to it. I have no idea. I have zero ideas going in this game, but I'm taking the Thunder as a jinx. So the Thunder take it home in Game 7 because everything I say is wrong. So Thunder in 7.
Sneaky thing, the Nuggets got up 16 points in the fourth quarter. I would not be surprised if there is a 12 or more point lead at some point in time for the Nuggets in the fourth quarter. I think the momentum has kind of moved their direction, and now I think OKC backs against the wall, first Game 7. And again, it'd be different if they were playing versus, respectfully, like Anthony Davis or, Luka Doncic or something like that. I think there is something to the Nuggets are the literal most seasoned Game 17 in the playoffs, period. And I think Jokic and Murray having what they have, and then now I think the experience and the mastery of half-court playoff basketball is on the side of Denver. I'm telling you, man, I feel like I've had a weird thing about this series since February, and I feel like this has kind of been we've been hitting the rocks a little bit, and so we'll see. We'll find out. Denver in 7 for me. Matt, toss him, pick him, slight jinx, OKC, and then Ryan Blackburn. He is back in the house. He said Jamal Murray is back to being his guy. He's taking the Nuggets in 7. Let us know what you think in the comment section, you all. Do you think the Denver Nuggets get it done in 7? Who do you feel like are going to be the MVPs of this game? Let us know what you think. That's Matt, Ryan, this is Swipa. Y'all know what time it is. See ya on the other side.